I converted an old VW Bug over to electric. So I removed the gas motor and installed an electric motor and some batteries, and now I can drive around without paying for gas and just charge the whole thing out of my solar panels at my house. I also cut off the back of it and installed a flatbed. Here's a shot of the motor in the back. I took some video in the process, and I'll show you kind of the process of putting this together. So I pulled it into the shop, and after cutting off the back half and removing the gas motor, I made preparations for this electric motor. So essentially I'm using the clutch. You see the clutch disc right here, and I mounted a plate to the back of it so that I could permanently attach it to the shaft. So when you press in the clutch, nothing happens on this vehicle now. Instead, this clutch disc is just permanently attached to the motor and to the transmission. They're just coupled together. And then it actually works pretty well. So I can shift, but usually I'll keep it in like second or third gear. There's a lot of torque in the low gears. But this is just what you do. You just mount it right to the back here. You got to make sure you get it exactly centered. Put it on. You saw me dry fit it on there, and then I drilled these holes, and then that way it's exactly centered as best I could get it on here. If it's not completely centered, it can wear out the motor and the transmission a lot quicker. These are the wires that are connected to it. So this is a 48-volt battery system, and this is the motor controller and also a disconnect switch. So I'm not using any of the existing electrical from the car. This is all just separate new electrical. I basically flip a switch. There's this electric gas pedal, so I'm not using the existing gas pedal either. And when the gas pedal is pressed down, it puts more voltage to the batteries, which makes the wheels turn. So after that was all done, I took it outside, and I just had some scrap wood laying around. I just mounted it on here. And actually, there's a metal frame. The person I got this from actually did this metal underframe. But it's just some angle iron. They just welded onto there. Here's a shot of the batteries. So this is 4 12-volt batteries to get 48 volts. There's also a voltmeter and an amp meter. This is kind of like your gas gauge and your RPMs. And the speedometer actually still works in the vehicle because it just goes based off of how fast the wheels are spinning. So it's pretty cool. This goes about 45 miles an hour is the top it'll go because it is a pretty small motor. I'll see if I can include the specs in the description of the video of what this motor is and kind of the batteries and what. In fact, I'll include a link. It's pretty cheap to do this whole thing, maybe $2,000 total, depending on how cheap you can get a VW Bug for. You can do a conversion like this. For me, it works nice because I'm just driving very often, 5 or 10 mile round trip from my home. Obviously, this wouldn't be comfortable on a long trip. And also here on the farm, I can just use it with this flatbed. It's kind of nice. Sometimes I'll just drop something off at the tiny home and, just a quick little trip. I don't have to start up the big truck to do that. So it's kind of cool. I just had this video shot and wanted to share it with you. If you have any questions about this build, go ahead and leave them below. Thanks for watching.